broke down earlier this summer. Lue wanted to coach LeBron again, but the coach and team could not agree on a contract, and the Lakers ultimately decided to hire Frank Vogel. Stephen A., I find this one very interesting. Do you think the Lakers will regret not hiring Ty Lue?
I'm going to say no, but only because I think the Lakers are going to win the championship. I think that Anthony Davis and LeBron James are so elite, so big time, and I think that LeBron James is going to have a monster year. I think this might be arguably his greatest year ever, even at age 35. I just think he's going to be a monster, and he's going to destroy everybody in his path. The fact that he hasn't been playing professional basketball since April, that he's been out of the mix, first time not being in an NBA Finals in 8 years, for crying out loud. This dude is going to be so ready this year, and to have a guy like Anthony Davis, who's an all-world top 5 player on the planet kind of talent, I just think that helps. Kuzma's on the squad, Danny Green picking him up. Rondo is still there, picking up DeMarcus Cousins, retaining JaVale McGee. I just look at the Los Angeles Lakers right now. I think the Clippers have a better collection of, as a team, they fit better. But I think that LeBron and Anthony Davis are such a dynamic duo that it offsets a lot of things. Now, Ty Lue knows LeBron's tendencies. He knows a lot of things about LeBron. Coached in the 4 straight NBA Finals, 3.5 really. And you look at it from that perspective, and I guess you could sit up there and say Ty Lue, particularly paired with Doc Rivers, or as far as I'm concerned, a Hall of Fame coach. You can look at it that way, but I will tell you that I just think that Anthony Davis and LeBron James, they can overcome almost anything. I really, really believe that they're that kind of duo.
Well, you and I see it differently because you think the Lakers are going to win the championship anyway, and I think the Clippers are going to win the championship. And one of the reasons I don't have to think even harder about it is because the Lakers don't have Ty Lue. That's right. I think Ty Lue may have made the difference. How much of a difference on the Cleveland roster was there under David Blatt and Ty Lue? Ty Lue did better with that roster. You know why? LeBron likes him. He's been coached by him. He's familiar with him now, and he likes him. He's won a championship with him. And so when you look at the Clippers, not only do you have a Hall of Fame, absolutely Hall of Fame coach in Doc Rivers, an elite coach. He was a bad GM, but he's an elite coach. So you have Doc Rivers, a great coach. You have a team that won 48 games plus 2 games against the fully loaded with KD Warriors this last postseason. These last playoffs, and you've replaced Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a nice player who may one day be an excellent player, and Danilo Gallinari, who's a very good player, with Paul George, who was an MVP candidate last year, and Kawhi Leonard, who I'm telling you is the number 1 player in the NBA. And by the way, the reigning finals MVP. So that 48-win team that won 2 games against a fully loaded KD squad, now there's no fully loaded Warriors squad, no KD, no even Clay, just replaced Gilgeous-Alexander and Gallinari with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And so you said it too. It's not that their roster is the best necessarily, although it's an elite one, the Clippers. It's that they're a team. They're a whole functioning unit. And they're dropping 2 enormous pieces into that unit, but it's basically the same surrounding players and supporting cast and coach. If you said the Lakers had Ty Lue right now, Stephen A., I'd be like, okay, wait a minute. LeBron's got his guy. Plus, he's got AD. Plus, they brought in Danny Green. Plus, Kuzma obviously has potential. And they got guys off the bench. DeMarcus Cousins, by the way, we're going to get into it with a knee injury, which is big news. But, if Cousins can be most of what he was, and you got a coach that LeBron likes and is familiar with, now you're talking. I think it's a huge loss for the Lakers. I think that it was a tremendous mistake. And, Stephen A., I'm not trying to hear, well, Ty Lue wanted 4 or 5 years and the Lakers only offered him 3. I understand offering him 3 coincided with LeBron's contract. I got no problem with that. But if he turns it down, you come back to me and say, look, okay, we're going to overpay you a little bit. And you ratchet up the money until he takes the deal. This was an easy one. It was an inside job. How did the Lakers botch it? I believe it will cost them the title this year.
Listen, here's the deal. And that's definitely plausible. I'm not going to deny that. But I think the part that you're missing, it's not like I'm forgetting that the Los Angeles Clippers won 48 games last year and that they pushed the reigning defending champions at the time, the 6-game series. I expect the Clippers to be a top 2 team in the NBA. I expect the finals to be decided in the Western Conference Finals when the Lakers and the Clippers, I think they will meet one another, assuming the seedings work out that way and they don't have to meet each other before the conference finals. I think that's what this could ultimately come down to. That's what I'm fantasizing about. That's what I'm envisioning.
I agree with you.
We'll see what happens. I'm just making the argument that I think that when it really, really comes down to it, I think that the Los Angeles Lakers, with the duo that is LeBron and Anthony Davis, will be too much for anybody. That's where I'm coming from. I understand that Tyronn Lue, I think that he's been given a bad rap. I think that this notion that everything has been about LeBron James, I don't think he's being given the credit that is due. And what offends me about it, Phil Jackson had Jordan and Pippen, and then he had Shaq and Kobe. And we realized with the 11 titles that he's one of the greatest coaches to ever live. But Tyronn Lue has LeBron James, and suddenly he can't coach. It's just LeBron James. I just think that's very, very disrespectful. I think that Tyronn Lue deserves better than that. And so for me, I like the idea of him being on the Clippers. I definitely think he helps. But I think in the end, he can't play for them. And even if he could, it wouldn't be enough, obviously. LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I just think their size, their physical ability, their basketball acumen, the way that they play, and the mission that LeBron James is going to be on. I just think that this year, barring injury, of course, assuming everybody's healthy, I really, really believe that LeBron James is going to be otherworldly. And I think that I don't think anybody's going to stop him.
All right, let me get in here because you brought up health and you alluded to it. So we have some news. I'm looking at Adrian Wojnarowski's Twitter right now. He just tweeted this. Lakers center DeMarcus Cousins has suffered a possible knee injury, will undergo further testing today in Los Angeles. League sources tell ESPN Cousins was working out in Las Vegas on Monday when he had to leave the court. Sources said he signed a one-year deal in July. Max, if he can't go, and if this is a serious knee injury, what type of impact does this have on the Lakers season?
Huge, and I'll tell you why. I totally agree with Stephen A. Even though there are teams that are deeper and who've played together more and may be better defensively and may shoot better, you can think of Utah, you can think of Denver, you can think of some others. I think in the end, when you have the kind of talent the Lakers and Clippers do, it's going to come down to an all-LA Western Conference Finals. Stephen A., I just was going on about Tyronn Lue, and maybe if Tyronn Lue had been the coach, I might think differently and put the Lakers ahead of the Clippers. But I have to admit, DeMarcus Cousins was an X factor. However you think he fits on that team, DeMarcus Cousins already came back from the injury that was supposed to change him forever, and even if it diminished him somewhat, usually when you come back from a catastrophic injury, a player to a lower extremity, that first season back, you're not quite the same. And then whatever level you're eventually going to reach, it's the following season. This was the following season. So we were going to see, can DeMarcus Cousins still perform at a consistent all-star level? And if he could have done that, or if he can do that, then at a certain point, you're like, boy, the Lakers are stacking the talent up too high. Maybe they just win the whole thing anyway. But if Cousins' body is breaking down, Stephen A., and he really is going to be a 15 to 18-minute contributor off the bench, while that's good, that's not Boogie Cousins on the Lakers. So I think this is a huge development for L.A.
I respect the skill set of DeMarcus Cousins. He knows how to play, and he had a couple of good games in the NBA Finals. And, you know, despite the kind of, truculent attitude he could have sometimes, the bottom line is this dude walked around averaging 28 and 12 when healthy. We have to remember that. Having said all of that, and I feel bad for him because his injuries have cost him in excess of $150 million. I'm just telling y'all right now. It's cost him in excess of $150 million. We've lamented what Isaiah Thomas lost because of his injury with the hip when he was in Boston and all of this other stuff, and now he's got a one-year deal in Washington. But when you look at DeMarcus Cousins, this brother's injuries have cost him $150 million. Having said all of that, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Not with this team, not with LeBron, not with Anthony Davis. And then you got a JaVale McGee who we keep sleeping on. He runs the floor well. He can finish at the basket. He's got good height, good size on him. Porous defensively at times. I get all of that. Not the girth that DeMarcus Cousins has available to him.
Better role man maybe than Boogie.
But he can be effective. But the Anthony Davis, the LeBron James combo offsets the significance of a potential loss to DeMarcus Cousins.
That's a big loss to me.
Yeah, Boogie has missed at least 10 games, a minimum, in his last 6 seasons. We'll leave it on that note. When we come back, a little football. Carson Wentz, watch Nick Foles come up big when the Eagles needed it most. So should fans be worried he's now in Florida? Carson versus Nick. Second hour, First Take.
Female athletes are less likely to suffer from loneliness and